Hi, Assalamualaikum. Okay, we go into the part two of the industrial safety and health, in which we will cover on the sequences from mechanical and health hazard. We already learned on the type of hazard before this, and we will look into the 10 most industrial disaster, worst industrial disaster, okay, and also understand the hazard control. So these are the consequences if we are not really uh, aware of the hazard around us. Okay, amputation. Wow, that's a very scary thing to happen. Okay, you need to, if your hand caught in the machine or something that fall, we fall from the high place, maybe we need to amputate your body parts. Okay, and then severe burns and injuries, maybe due to the electric hazard, okay, due to the hot or steam, hot water or steam, so it's gonna cause you severe burn and injuries, okay, or splash of acid and all the dangerous chemical. Even it can cause death, okay, that's the most we don't want this to happen. And then problem faced by membrane members to take care of the person, okay, and also problem faced by the colleague, need to cover for your absentees, and also fear and suspicion when you come back, you have this some kind of phobia, and also it will demotivate you sometimes when you are recovering, okay, during the recovery period. Okay, the form of industrial disaster or accident that can occur in which fire explosion, okay, it lead to more bigger impact, and then sometimes tanker right and sank, okay, due to the human error, flood, okay, mechanical failure, something stuck or to open, okay, and then um, dust explosion, factory collapse, okay, and also release of toxin ammonia into the atmosphere, okay. And these are the famous industrial disaster. Okay, the first one is the Chernobyl. Chernobyl is very famous due to the nuclear power plant in Ukraine. Okay, it's the power plant, the power reactor, uh, resulting in the nuclear meltdown. Okay, so Chernobyl is occurred in 1986, and it until now they say that the effect is still there. Nobody want to live around the area. The other one is in 2007. We have the steel disaster, the steel factory disaster, in which molten metal uh, fell. Okay, just imagine the hot metal fell on top of people. So, okay, for your project, okay, your presentation, for this you need to choose from the list of the industrial disaster that are given, and once you have choose the industrial disaster, you need to do some research work, okay. You have to look in the internet, okay, maybe you have to look into the YouTube video or anything that can give you information about the disaster. What are the causes of the disaster? Is it a human error? Is it from the system error? Or is it both? And usually they are newspaper article, or some of the article written by the people regarding the disaster, okay. Okay, let's watch the most worst 10 disaster in the world, okay.
Chernobyl disaster. The Chernobyl disaster on April 25th and 26th, 1986, the worst nuclear accident in history, unfolded in what is now northern Ukraine as a reactor at a nuclear power plant exploded and burned. The accident destroyed the Chernobyl 4 reactor, killing 30 operators and firemen within 3 months and several further deaths later. What remains of the reactor is now inside a massive steel containment structure deployed in late 2016. Containment efforts and monitoring continue, and cleanup is expected to last until at least 2065. More than 30 years on, scientists estimate the zone around the former plant will not be habitable for up to 20,000 years. Bhopal gas tragedy. On the night of December 2, 1984, the chemical methyl isocyanate spilled out from the Union Carbide India Limited pesticide factory turned the city of Bhopal into a colossal gas chamber. It was India's first major industrial disaster. At least 30 tons of methyl isocyanate gas killed more than 15,000 people and affected over 6 lakh workers. Bhopal gas tragedy is known as the world's worst industrial disaster. The tragedy of San Gianico. In the early morning of November 19, 1984, a series of huge explosions at a Pemex liquid petroleum gas storage plant and the massive fire they triggered killed between 500 to 600 people and left as many as 7,000 others with severe burns. About one-third of Mexico City's LPG supply, some 11,000 cubic meters, burnt in the fire following the explosion, with authorities said were caused by a gas pipe that ruptured due to excessive pressure. Texas City explosion of 1947. Industrial disaster sparked by fire and explosion of the SS Grand Camp on April 16-17, 1947 in Texas City. The blast set off a chain of fires as well as a 15-foot tidal wave. Between 400 and 600 people were killed, with as many as 4,000 injured. The enormous wave triggered by the blast flattened numerous buildings, leaving as many as 2,000 people homeless. Benzihu colliery disaster 1942. The Benzihu colliery disaster in China in 1942 cost 1,549 lives and is believed to be the worst coal mining disaster ever. The tragedy occurred on 26 April 1942 in Honkeiko coal mine located near Bengsi in a province of China. The fatal explosion of the underground coal mine was caused by a mixture of gas and coal dust. The underground fire exploded out of the mine shaft entrance. France mine explosion. A devastating mine disaster killed over 1,000 workers in Corrèze, France on March 10, 1906. An underground fire sparked a massive explosion that virtually destroyed a vast maze of mines. The Corrèze colliery in North France was a complex series of mines near the Pas-de-Calais mountains. Tunnels into the mines issued forth from several towns in the area, and more than 2,000 men and boys worked the mines digging for coal that was used mostly in the manufacture of the gas. The Seveso accident. On July 10, 1976, a chemical reactor exploded at a chemical plant located in Meda, near Seveso in Italy, exposing the locals to a high level of TCDD or the dioxin. Area residents in the path of the aerosol cloud developed nausea, headaches, eye irritation, and 19 children were admitted to the local hospital with skin lesions. In the ensuing weeks, the area experienced high animal and plant mortality, and nearly 200 cases of chloracne were reported among residents, mostly among children. 3,300 farm animals and 80,000 animals were later slaughtered. The Exxon Valdez oil spill. The Exxon Valdez oil spill was a man-made disaster that occurred when Exxon Valdez, an oil tanker owned by the Exxon Shipping Company, spilled 11 million gallons of crude oil into Alaska's Prince William Sound on March 24, 1989. It was the worst oil spill in U.S. history until the Deepwater Horizon oil spill in 2010. The Exxon Valdez oil slick covered 1,300 miles of coastline and killed hundreds of thousands of seabirds, otters, seals, whales. Nearly 30 years later, pockets of crude oil remain in some locations. Enschede fireworks disaster. On May 13, 2000, in eastern Dutch city, a fireworks warehouse caught fire and led to an enormous explosion. The explosion caused 22 deaths, with 4 firefighters among the casualties. Another 974 individuals were injured, and 500 homes and businesses were severely damaged or destroyed during the blast. The Rana Plaza accident. On 24 April 2013, the collapse of the Rana Plaza building in Dhaka in Bangladesh, which housed 5 garment factories, killed at least 1,132 people and injured more than 2,500.
Okay, so we have looked into the 10 most worst disaster. And then we go into hazard control. Okay, in hazard control, accident prevention program is very important, which includes the safety policy, safety instructions, safety audits, training and education, safety motivation. Also, we need to redesign the job and equipment to make sure that it will not cause any hazard to the workers. Okay, so it's very important for the employer to provide all the PPE, okay, and all the trainings and also all the instructions regarding the safety and health. Okay, in the elimination, we need to make sure that we completely remove the hazard from the workplace. If we cannot remove, so we need to reduce the risk. Okay, and we need to maintain a good housekeeping, in which include the 5S, okay, SOP. So all of these need to be updated. And the third one is the isolation. Okay, isolation means that we isolate the hazard from the workers. If we cannot remove, so we need to isolate by having barriers, guarding fence. For example, this one is the guard for the lathe machine, and then these are the guarding cover, okay, for the belt, so that when people go close to this area, it won't caught any clothing or hands at this area. And also for this one also, if the guard is not properly closed, so this machine won't operate. Okay, that's how they try to reduce the risk of getting injured by isolation. Okay, that's all for hazard control. Okay, so next we're gonna look into the DOSH. Okay, the department that responsible for OSHA. Okay, Occupational Safety Health Administration. Okay, I see you in the next video.